Welcome to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, the place for you to break free from the norm and celebrate your life, because what we believe in our hearts becomes our reality. This is Magical Moments with Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments for that ease and that betterment in your life. I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and I want to talk to you a little bit. I've got that magical nugget for you. So okay, this one's a big one, guys. What sets your soul on fire? What is it? What do you feed your mind, your body, and your soul that gains that highest inspiration, that incredible awe, and that wondrous, glorious rejoicing? What is it? Yes, you're saying, Alena, what are you talking about? Well, let me tell you, from the earliest, since high school, music for me did it. And I realized it because when I played something that lifted me up, lifted my soul up in the verse, in the harmonies, in that symphonic, if I'm in my car, I turn it up all over. If you go by my car, it's probably vibrating. And I am lifted up to the highest realm that I can possibly get. It is a fabulous feeling that gets you started in the day or gets you out of the doldrums in the afternoon, that helps you see the glory, the true glory. Like I'm talking Einstein standing in the middle of the field looking up at the sky with a tear in his eye. That kind of glory. And I think that has fed me for so many years. And I was doing it the other day and I thought, my God, how many people do not do this? How many people do not realize that if they have something that lifts their soul up, feeds it, and just sets it afire every day? What is that? Is it reading? Is it laughing? Is it being with friends? Is it music? Whatever it is, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your soul. You owe it to the universe to lift yourself up to that rejoicing. And it will change your life. Speaking, that's my nugget for you today. I hope you enjoyed it because it's the truth. But guess what? I have a fabulous person who also lifts you up to that glorious state of living. And I have followed this person for a very long time, and I am honored to have him on. And you're going to know his name. His name is Dr. Joe Vitale. He is a prolific author of many, many, many best-selling books, including The Attractor Factor, Zero Limits, and now he has Money Loves Speed, which we're going to talk about today. Yes, that universe does love speed. One of the world's top motivational speakers, Joe Vitale, is a popular star of the movie The Secret. Remember The Secret? Yes. And an internationally famous expert on the law of attraction and clearing beliefs. You know those little old stickler beliefs that stay and say, you can't, you won't. Yeah, those beliefs. Dr. Joe created the Miracles coaching program to help people achieve their dreams. Now, this is something you may or may not know, but Dr. Vitale was homeless at one point in his life. Yes. Now he is a top model of prosperity and abundance and absolute joy. He believes in miracles and has spent the last 4 decades learning to master the skills of channeling the pure creative energy of life, and without all that resistance. With that, I want to bring on our guest. Hello, Dr. Joe Vitale. How are you?
I'm doing fine. You can just call me Joe.
Oh, make it real easy, yes.
Right.
I am so
honored to be here.
I am so honored to have you. You have been on The Secret. First of all, the Secret was big. It was a humongous show. And I have to tell you, I'll be really right honest, the people that really touched my heart, you were one of them, and Jack Canfield was one of them, and Bob Proctor was one of them. You guys really reached in, and you just tapped into my subconscious mind and said, hey there, wake up. You know what I mean?
I do, and I've heard that a lot. I don't know why we stood out. There's 24 teachers in the movie The Secret, and if for whatever reason that's what happened, Godspeed. That's wonderful. If it makes a difference in people's lives, I'm just happy to have been part of it.
Oh, yeah. I think you were meant to be. But I want to talk a little bit about this homelessness, because homelessness plagues our nation. I don't know if you know, in New York, I actually, I bought some bananas. I know this is going to sound funny. I was lost, and I saw this guy had $1 for one bunch of bananas, and there were so many homeless. So I bought the bananas, and I handed out bananas to all the homeless, and I learned their stories. They're not all crazy people. They're not all sick. They're people who are down on their luck. So what caused the homelessness, and what got you out of it?
Well, it's a big question. I was pursuing my dream of being an author, and along the way I had given the money I had saved to a company that promised to give me work overseas. And this is back in the 1970s, and they were building pipelines in Alaska and in the Middle East and paying good money for laborers. And I knew how to labor. I had worked on the railroad most of my life. I know what it's like to use your back and your sweat. Right. And the company I gave the money to went bankrupt. The owner of the company committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
Then there's no internet. I didn't have the recourses, and being young and naive, I didn't know what to do, and very quickly I ended up on the streets. And I was in Dallas, Texas, and I pretty much lived in the public library, which is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I love books, and being locked in a library in one level is wonderful.
Yes.
But also having no home, no job, no car, no money, no nothing was awful. And for the second part of your question, how did I get out of it? That's been my life work, is to reveal to people that your beliefs are creating your reality. And my beliefs at the time, back in the 1970s, when I'm in my 20s, was that I needed to suffer in order to be a great author. I needed to have a dramatic life story like some of the authors I admired. I admired Jack London and Ernest Hemingway.
Yes.
And both of them were alcoholic, miserable, suicidal, and both of them ended as suicides. And part of me, modeling my life after them, thought that that was the curriculum. That was the belief. And when I woke up to the idea that, wait a minute, if the beliefs are creating homelessness and then poverty, what if I change my beliefs?
Right.
And I did. Today, of course, I get to do things like be on your show, live the lifestyle of the rich and famous. But it came from changing beliefs. So it was not a happy period, but there certainly was a lesson to be learned and a lesson to share with people today.
You know, I want to talk about beliefs a little bit, because this is a big subject, and people always have questions. And they say, Alena, I'm trying to think this way, and I'm trying to do this. Do you believe that sometimes, say a belief of money, there's so many things that someone could believe that is not the direct, I don't deserve it, or I don't know how to make it, or whatever, those common beliefs. But don't you believe sometimes these little tiny beliefs that you think are nothing and might not even be totally directed are actually attached to that are causing the problem? And how do you...
I absolutely agree with you. We live in a belief-driven universe, but the beliefs are unique to each person. There are common beliefs. In my new book, which you referred to, called Money, Love, Speed, I list the 10 top beliefs that are pretty common for virtually everybody having problems with money. Those are the 10 top beliefs. That doesn't mean that there aren't sub-beliefs or unique beliefs or smaller beliefs that are underneath that are affecting each individual. So for me, we all have beliefs. Some of them might be the top 10. Some of them might be unique to us. But our job, and I think this is our purpose on life, is to awaken. We want to awaken to what is programming us, release the programming, so we can live a life that is with divine power behind it, and we can fulfill our life mission, which is unique to each one of us. So we have to look at the beliefs, large or small, and release them.
And when they show themselves, you walk your journey and new beliefs start to emerge. And when they start to emerge, Of course, you've got to start to decide, is that really what I want to believe, and change it.
Well, I've often said that whenever you go to do something you've never done before, you're going to stir up beliefs in the way of its accomplishment. And the example I give is I've never gone mountain climbing. And if I decided next week that I'm going to start climbing mountains, every concern, every fear, every limiting belief associated with that new activity is going to arise in my brain.
Every muscle.
Yes, but it won't mean don't do it. It'll just mean I have some beliefs to erase.
Exactly.
I had that happen when I decided to be a musician at the age of 60, which was 6 years ago.
Good for you.
It was on my bucket list, and I said, I want to go in the studio, I want to record my own music, I want to learn how to sing, but I didn't sing even in the shower. I didn't sing karaoke. I didn't
That's okay.
behind the wheel of the car. And so all the beliefs showed up, all the limiting beliefs. Oh, I'm too old, I don't know music, I don't know music theory, I can't sing, I can't write music, I can't go in the studio, I can't blah, 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 blah. And that could have stopped me. And for most people, when they have a dream and they let those beliefs come up, they do get stopped.
Yes, they do.
I had enough tools to know I can erase those, and did. And now, 6 years later, I have 15 albums out.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. Congratulations. That's impressive.
It's a matter of, I say, when we clear the beliefs, we accelerate our progress to whatever it is we want. I have 80 books written.
I know.
And,
80 books.
Well,
oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm as surprised as anybody, but all I'm doing is pursuing my dream, and when beliefs show up that could stop me or slow me down, I erase them. And that's what I want everybody to be considering. What could be the belief stopping them from whatever their unique dream is? And then as they erase those beliefs, they will accelerate the progress to manifesting their goals.
You know, you speak the total truth. I remember when I started to write my first book, and I'll tell you that magic comes in if you conquer the belief, or if you just have the courage to defy that belief. Because I remember I wasn't even sure that I was going to be an author, but I was trying to be, and this is a funny story. I was in a coffee shop, and I was trying to put my journal on the computer to make a book, right? And the computer was not acting upright, so I kind of used some choice words with it. And the guy at the end of my table started laughing, and I looked at him, and he said, "Are you an author?" Now, how many people in the world would ask somebody? That's the universe saying, okay, Alena, are you going to take this or are you going to chicken out? And I had the courage to beat back the critical mind saying, oh my God, he's asking me if I'm an author. I'm not an author. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, all those doubts and fears. Instead, I just said, yes, I'm an author and this is my first book. And do you want to know what, Joe?
Everything worked.
Well, he turned out to be a published author. And he asked to help me with my book. Isn't that amazing?
Right. That is beautiful. That's the other thing. You start going for your dreams and you do persist without stopping. The universe does conspire to help you.
Yes.
And it could be, just in that wonderful little story, somebody sitting at the end of the table who happens to be somebody who could be a resource or an inspiration, saying the right thing at the right time. That seems to happen all the time.
It is. It says, oh my gosh, you believe in your dream? This is the universe. I am going to drop in a little bit here for you and a little bit here, and I'm going to lead you on your way. That's really what happens. Right. Yeah?
I love it.
Well, with this, now, thoughts. We're going back to thoughts, but sometimes our belief systems are really deep. I mean, we have lived lives. We get hurt. We get betrayed. We get, oh gosh, everything. Some of us have lived such hard lives, we have trouble trusting. Now, I know you have an incredible Hawaiian healing system that you have learned. Can you tell us, to get rid of these beliefs, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'm happy to. This Hawaiian healing system has taken the world by storm. It's enlightened people, healed people, awakened people.
Amazing.
Blocks, cured the beliefs. It's just amazing. I wrote 2 books about it, which have really become popular. The first one was called Zero Limits.
Yes.
And Zero Limits, as you know, told this wonderful story, amazing story, miraculous story, of a therapist who helped heal an entire ward of mentally ill criminals at a state hospital in Hawaii.
That's amazing.
He helped heal them without directly working on them.
Incredible.
It is incredible. And
it's incredible.
When I heard the story, I couldn't believe it. I was open enough to research it. I did find the therapist, and I interviewed him, and he told me about this Hawaiian method called Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. Got that, people?
Right there.
It's cool.
Oh, yeah. Right. I often call it the ho-ho method because Ho'oponopono people trip up on.
Oh, very easily.
Yes. Well, it's a Hawaiian healing method. It's basically about taking complete responsibility for your life and saying 4 unique phrases inside yourself as you're feeling whatever the block or concern or problem happens to be. And you're saying these phrases as a kind of prayer to the great something, to God, to the divine, to the universe, to whatever you want to
Wow. So it's bigger than an affirmation. You're actually saying a prayer.
You are saying it is. That's a very good point. It is bigger than an affirmation. An affirmation is a way to reprogram yourself. And I love affirmations. Affirmations are very powerful if you want to use them. But I'm talking about something bigger, and I'm talking about a different dimension of manifestation.
Perfect.
With affirmations, it's you trying to change yourself, and it works. But with Ho'oponopono, you are aligning yourself with the creator of the world and requesting through prayer or through this petition to change whatever is going on in you that is creating what you are perceiving.
I like that.
So,
yes.
What are the 4? So people are probably wondering, what are the 4 questions or what are the 4 statements?
Definitely they are.
Right.
I would like you to say. But I do want to first interject. Sometimes I don't think people understand. Sometimes that this betrayal or this hurt or this lack of trust, how it's affecting their future relationships or their jobs. I think that is an important thing to point out because they're saying, well, those are my... Come on, Joe. Those are my medals. I lived through that. I survived it. Yeah.
And yes, you did survive it, but there's baggage that you're still dragging around because of it. And I know this. I mean, I'm in a divorce right now. It has not been easy. It's not been pleasant. And despite me wanting to end it by giving away the moon, it's still succeeding. So I know those feelings, and there's guilt, there's grief. My father died last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Those feelings. And my new partner, Lisa, who you've interviewed before, she's been going through neural Lyme disease.
Yes.
Deathbed for most of 8 months.
I know.
Me caring for her. And I'm saying all this so people understand, look, we all have our story. We all have our dragon that we've been slaying, and some of us are still slaying it. What I'm offering with Ho'oponopono is a way to end this nightmare. It's a way to free yourself. And the 4 phrases that you say, and here they are, they're as simple as can be.
We're ready.
I love you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry.
So simple. So simple.
Lives have been changed. I have seen people basically heal or resolve everything that anybody could name, whether they're talking about business, interpersonal relationships, family relationships, health for themselves or somebody else, pets. Everything has been touched by this, and I'll tell you why it works. Ho'oponopono comes from the philosophy that everything you're experiencing is being co-created by you.
Of course.
If you want to change everything or anything, you don't change other people, you don't change the other world, you don't change the outside of anything, you change the inside of you. And how you change the inside of you is with Ho'oponopono is one technique. And you say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, as you're feeling whatever you're feeling in this moment. but you're saying it as a kind of prayer or petition to your connection to what I end up calling the great something, but somebody else might call
the
it
source,
God.
and I call it source. Right. You know, I can feel it. When you say it, when anyone says it, the more you say it, no matter what it is inside, no matter what it is that you're trying to conquer, you can feel a humongous relief. It's a relief, and it's a lifting up to source or to the great one. It is a release and a lifting up. And the more you say it, it's like stuff just lifts off of you. It's miraculous. It's a very good system. It's a very good system. And it's so simple. I always say, I know you don't know this, Joe, but I always say it's baby steps and it's simple. Nothing is hard. You know?
And I'm in favor of baby steps. I think that's one thing that stops people from taking action on their dreams is they get overwhelmed with what they think are all the different steps or confused by all the different possibilities. And I always tell people, you start where your shoes are, and you take the very first baby step in the direction of your dreams. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to do it all.
You just have to believe. You have to believe in your idea.
Move forward.
Move forward. And move forward with that belief. And the universe says, aha, there's somebody really creating. I'm going to join them.
Will join forces with you. And that's one reason Ho'oponopono works, is you are aligning yourself with Source.
Yes.
Most of us are fighting it. I wrote a book a while back called The Secret Prayer. And in my research, I really came to the conclusion that all the people that were praying, virtually all of them, were just begging.
Yes.
They were begging for things to be different. Please do this. Please give me this.
Christmas
please
list.
Resolve this. Please help me here. And the secret prayer is based more on gratitude.
Gratitude, yes.
Ho'oponopono is coming from, even one of the statements is thank you. Another one of the statements is I love you. Please forgive me, thank you. The four phrases right there are covering the basis of what actually gets results when we want to pray. So we're joining forces with Source. When we
joining forces. And that's what I was talking about this morning. Feeding that soul, lifting it up. And for everyone out there, you know, you say something like this, and you say it during the day. You say it, you know, when you get into your car, when you get out of your car, when you go for lunch, when you come back from lunch. You just say it. You are doing what I do when I listen to the music and I sing, like pentatonic singing Alleluia or whatever. I am lifting myself up. That's what it's doing to Source. I love it. It's a fantastic little system, and it works. Now, when people are I want to go to the baby steps, even with this is a wonderful baby step. Then moving forward with that belief and how do we form that belief, Joe, that, I mean, they've heard me say it, but you know what? I think everybody rings to a different person, you know, and so we need to hear your opinion. With this belief, how do we build that belief in our head? I know affirmations, but what else can we do to build that belief, not only in our idea, but in Source? That Source is with us as we step forward, so that we can step forward with confidence as much as possible.
Well, the thing that I remind people is that they are given so much that they take for granted that there's no way to outgive the universe.
Oh, I like that.
There's no way to outgive the universe.
No.
And what I invite people to do is to realize right now they're breathing air that they're not controlling, they're not paying for, they're not asking for. The universe is supplying it. The universe has also given us an equilibrium system on the planet, so we're all not floating into space. We're just collapsing on the ground. We've got gravity and we've got atmospheric pressure. Something is taking care of that for us. We're not doing it. And then if we look in our own bodily systems, we're not controlling our heartbeat, we're not controlling our lungs, we're not controlling all the little different organs and the big organs in our bodies. It's all happening automatically, effortlessly, and as a gift.
That's right.
So it's one thing to look at your life and go, I'm grateful for my life, or I'm grateful for my family or friends, or I'm grateful for things like this show that you're doing. You're helping people with it. It's another thing to step it up and say, wait a minute, Source is actually giving me everything to sustain my life.
Everything.
Source must be supporting me.
Yes.
If Source is supporting me, then maybe it will also support me in going for my dreams. So you can build up your belief about somebody having your back by realizing the universe already has your back. The universe is already taking care of you, supplying to you, and outgiving you far beyond anything you'll ever be able to give back. With that kind of thinking and realization, you can move into an ironclad belief that says, I deserve to go for what I want because the universe has given me life, and the universe is continuing my life. The universe, or Source, is protecting me, holding me, fulfilling me as I go for my dreams.
That's beautiful. So with this, and if we go for, now I know a lot of people say, all right, I'll just go for $1 million. I always say, and I would love for you to comment and even change if you don't agree, but I always say when we go for something, a higher source, like not a higher source, a higher goal, not just making money, but how are we going to serve? I think that tickles the universe's fancy.
Well, it is all about service. There's nothing wrong with money, but
No.
I find that focusing on money itself is not very juicy, not very satisfying. I usually ask people, what's your dream? What is your life mission? What's your life calling? What is your contribution?
Soul.
And then you can have an eye on making money from that. But I don't want people to focus on money because money is not the universal dream for people. What they're looking for is what they get from money, which is very often just a sense of security. And if they stop and reflect on what I just said about the universe taking care of them, they actually already have security. It's already there. So a bigger question for me is, what is your contribution? What is your life mission? What is your life calling? What is pumping in your heart for you to do unique to you? And then in another book I wrote called The Awakened Millionaire, I said one thing you can always ask yourself is, how does your dream affect 2 or 3 more people besides you?
Oh, I like that.
Because that'll take it out of your ego.
Yes.
There is a tendency for the ego to go, well, this is all about me, and I want this empire all for me. Well, it'll probably collapse because the universe isn't going to support a solitary endeavor. It will support something that helps other people. So whenever you state your dream, you can always say, well, who else does this dream help? Certainly it'll help me, and I'll make money from it and make a difference, but who else will it help? And name a couple of people, and the more you can name, the better, because the universe will rush in to support that group kind of mission.
Perfect. You're listening to Magical Moments, and I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and we're talking to Dr. Joe Vitale. Come right back, because we've got a lot more.
You're listening to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner purpose. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.
Welcome back to Magical Moments for that ease and betterment in your life. You deserve it. And I'm your host, Alena Chapman. And today we have Dr. Joe Vitale. Now, we touched on many little things. We're going to start zeroing in. We talked about the total, how these funny little hurts and things that we think are trophies in our lives, how they can affect our future, along with just beliefs. We've also talked about how powerful our thoughts are. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that ego. So come with us. And so, Dr. Joe.
Yes, I'm here. Let's do it.
So this ego is a funny thing. I know so many people, there's so many names out there. Some people call it paradigm. Some people call it critical mind. Some people call it ego. So is it the whole ego? Can you explain what even the ego is to people?
Well, okay, let's dive into the deep end here.
Let's.
The ego is an illusion, but it is a very persistently reality-oriented illusion. And it basically pretends that it's in charge, and it pretends like it knows what it's doing. And it doesn't. It's not in charge, it doesn't know what it's doing, and it's not what we want to follow. We have to realize that an ego is a part of us, and actually it's a useful part of us.
Yes.
We want to use it to navigate through life, not to guide or lead our life. So we want
I like that.
actually serve. We want the ego to serve spirit, and not the ego to try to drive the bus.
That's important. I want to kind of drive that home. That's extremely important right there. Very important, because so many times, in other words, when we are getting to a point where we are, okay, so we've been betrayed. Let's use a betrayed, because everybody can relate to that, because almost everybody's been betrayed somehow, whether that's work, relationship, whatever. So you've got this betrayal in you, and instead of letting it drive you, and you're always looking for, how am I not going to be betrayed? Instead, you learn how to have it there. It's there, but the bad part of it is gone. The part of the unforgiving, the part of it that's holding on to you like a vice. But it guides you so that when you get into a situation that somebody might be starting that betrayal, you'll be able to spot it. But it's not driving you. Did I give a good? That's a good example for you. Do you think, Joe?
I like that example. And so the difference is, a lot of us who have wounds in the past actually recreate those wounds in the future.
Yes.
Because we didn't get the lesson, and we didn't release the energy around it.
Exactly.
When we get the lesson, which could include just being more careful or being more sensitive to intuition, being more alert, standing up for ourselves, there's all kind of lessons we could get.
Exactly.
But when we get the lesson, we then can forgive ourselves, which is probably the most important person, is the person involved, meaning you yourself. You forgive yourself, you release the energy around it. Then the wound is only there as a story. And it's a story that has no energy on it. It's just something that happened. You could write about it with neutrality. All the emotion is taken from it. It's part of your autobiography, but it's not part of the belief system that is still driving you.
Perfect.
And this is why it's so important for people to go back. And if they have had those experiences, and as you point out, we all have had them, which is important to realize. You're not unique. Everybody has had these bad times.
Yes.
What you want to do is learn from it, release it, and then use what you learned from it to carry forward into your new experiences. But as long as the old wound is still there, it's buried alive, and it can still attract to it other experiences like it.
Because it's still alive. It's still vibrating. It's still holding on to you. Yes.
Yes. So you have to let go. You have to forgive yourself and anybody else involved, learn from it, and release it. You also release energy that you can use to create. Any of us who are still walking around with baggage or old stories and old wounds, we've got energy locked up with those old wounds that prevent us from using that energy in the pursuit of some other dream right now.
It is very true.
We free the past, the more we have energy for now and the future.
And guys, when you're holding on to all that stuff, you're storing it in every cell of your body. Everything. And every cell is filled with energy and water. And water vibrates. And it vibrates to whatever you're feeding it. So if you're feeding it all that harshness of unforgiving and holding that grudge and holding that anger inside, you are creating a vibration in your body that is sending it to the universe, but also causing you ill. The vibration's so low, your brain starts releasing chemicals to ease it, and it can't. So you are altering your whole body structure just because you won't let go. Interesting, isn't it? So this ego, now, I always say if you can get through all the critical mind, or the part of the ego that just holds all the yucky, the stuff that holds you back or tries to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you safe, but it's holding you back. It wants to keep you in a box. If you can do that, then the good memories start to come through. And I've seen it happen because I think sometimes some of those critical thoughts, they become so loud in your brain, and you start to hear that song so loudly, you don't hear some of the good things that have happened in your life that were actually to help you move forward. And we all have them.
Well, I totally agree with that. One of the things we're talking about here is the awareness of thoughts themselves. I wrote a book, and I have a course called the Awakening Course, and I say that in there, what we want to do is realize we are not our thoughts.
No.
We are separate from our thoughts. In many spiritual traditions, they say you are the witness. You're the background to the thoughts.
I like that.
I invite people even right now to be considering whatever they're thinking is not them.
No.
If they can realize it's almost like listening to a radio transmission, or it's watching a TV signal and the thoughts are just kind of going across the screen of your mind, that'll give them a little bit of separation and a little bit of objectivity, and they start to move in the direction of, I don't have to pay attention to every thought that comes my way. I can choose thoughts.
I can choose. Yes. Exactly.
I can choose thoughts, yes.
We form our ego. We form how we want to live. We form the person we want to be, the life we want to lead. It's as simple as that. No matter what we have had in the past, we still form. And if you can, and when you decide to make that choice, now, and I would love for you to comment on that, you will start to hear a very small voice, but very positive, very loving, and it will guide you in all good ways. And that's your soul or spirit. And Joe, I know you understand this because you have this.
I do, and I do love that you're talking about this, because this is of great service to everybody listening. The ego usually is barking in our brain, telling us what to do, criticizing us. Usually it's negative. Usually it's doom and gloom. Usually it's fear-based.
Judgmental and harsh.
Judgmental, yes. All those things. So over time it becomes pretty easy to spot, and you can say, oh, that's the ego. That's the voice of doom and gloom. That's the voice I don't necessarily want to listen to right now.
No.
Even though you could thank it, because it is trying to protect you.
Right.
It is trying to keep you in a box because it doesn't want you to be hurt. So in a way, it's a good thing.
Yes.
But below that, there's more of a whisper. And I usually tell people that ask me, how do you know the difference between your intellect and intuition? I'll say, well, generally speaking, the intellect feels like it's coming from your head. It's coming from the neck up. It seems to be brain-oriented, like it's between your ears, behind your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thinking seems like it's coming from intellect/ego.
And it's
However,
harsh.
Yes. And however, deeper than that, in the body, usually in the stomach area, in the chest, somewhere in the abdomen, we have a bodily felt sense and more of a whisper, and that is Source speaking through our intuition.
Yes, exactly.
And the more we can get quiet, which I think is one of the things we all need to do, is just make time for silence.
Yes.
The more we can get quiet, the more we can receive. And what are we receiving but this information and guidance and inspiration from Source itself? And that, I think, is a turning point for people. The more they can tune into that and not be sucked in by the intellect/ego, the more their lives will be easier, the more they'll be on course, the more the universe will be supporting you.
Exactly.
You're doing what the universe has put you here to do.
Exactly. And I really feel, folks, if you can hear that whisper, it is your intuition, it's soul, and it's also Source. And if you really think about it, we say that God, Source, universe, whatever, is omnipresent everywhere. Well, what does that mean? It means it's in every blade of grass, in every leaf, in every organism, no matter how small. It's omnipresent. It's in the air we breathe. And doesn't it make sense? And I'm just raising a question. Just raising a question, guys. Doesn't that mean it will be in us? Aren't we part of that universe, that omnipresent? Wouldn't we be? And if we are, isn't it up to us to open to it? Because if we open to it, we're divinely guided. But Joe, just out of a theory question, because I think it's always interesting. When did we lose that connection? When did our ego become so important and our guidance started to subside or hide? It hid, basically.
Well, my first honest answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say, it may go back to the beginning of time, and depending on what people's belief systems are, it could be the Garden of Eden. But I honestly don't know. At some point in our evolution, we developed self-awareness. And when we developed self-awareness, we probably had a choice, and we were probably confused about, do we listen to this voice that's talking in our head, or do we listen to this nudge that is coming from our abdomen? And probably because it was evolutionary and coming in the beginning of time when survival was the number one thing to be concerned about, they probably listened more to the voice of doom and gloom in their head.
Yeah.
But this is me theorizing out loud. I honestly don't know. But I do know we're in this time, we're in this moment, and we have a choice. We can listen to we can listen to the crap that goes on above the ears.
It's true. And when you listen to the guidance, it always steers you correct. And it also helps you to, the lives you touch on along the way, it's never a solo. You are never solo. The journey is never solo then. When you're with the ego, it's a solo journey. It's all about me. It's all about how is it going to affect me? How is it going to build me up? But when you are guided, then it's not solo anymore. People, things, situations, everything comes into your life and helps to guide you. You are affecting millions of other people one by one with everything you do on your journey. You get more of a sense of community when you're guided. Don't you think, Joe? Yes,
I do. There's a book by Ryan Holiday called Ego is the Enemy. I don't particularly like the title because I don't think ego is the enemy.
I don't either.
But his case is very strong that we are misled by the ego. And his book is worth reading because it makes people aware that, you can become very self-indulgent and rationalize your decisions all because you're being betrayed or misled by this thing we call the ego. And so being a little bit more aware of it can give you more discernment. I don't think the ego is the enemy. I don't think the ego is the bad guy. The ego is trying to protect us. But in its attempt to protect us, it can mislead us. And the bigger purpose is let's listen to our intuition, which is our connection to Source, and go through life that way, taking care of ourselves and others, but not just ourselves.
Would you mind sharing some of the, when you have that money, love, speed, can you share some of the fears that people have about money?
Well, there's a lot of fears when it comes to money.
I know.
The big one is scarcity, that there's never enough. And this is why people hold on to money and why they don't do some of the fundamental principles that would attract more money. Let me just talk about one in particular. My book, Money, Love, Speed, has the top 10 beliefs in there that limit money. I've got 35 ways in there to attract money. I have 8 things to do if you're desperate for money right now.
Awesome.
I also have other things about the 8 laws of money. So there's a lot in the book, but I want to mention one thing.
Yes.
I say that the biggest, best way to attract money right now is counterintuitive and counterintellectual. It is give money away.
Everybody just took a gasp.
Most people, if they're in religion, have heard about tithing, and most of the time that's the church saying give to the church.
Right.
I talk about giving a little differently. I say certainly you need to give, and you want to give back to the universe, but how do you give back? You ask yourself right now, where have I received spiritual nourishment? Where was I fortified? Where was I encouraged? Where was I inspired? And whatever that is, whoever that is where you give 10% of what you've been receiving. That could be an Uber driver. That could be a anybody. It could be someone on the street corner. It could be a clerk. It could be a waitress or waiter.
Anyone.
So here's the deal. I can give you all the research. I can give you stories of famous people, very wealthy people who have made their empires by giving. I can make a strong case for giving. I write about it in the book, Money, Love, Speed. But guess what? Most people won't do it.
And why is that? It sounds so simple.
They're afraid of not having any more. They're afraid of scarcity. That is the number one thing. They're afraid that if they give their $5 now, there won't be another $5. And this
that's so
is
silly.
a big illusion because there's always more.
There is.
We look throughout our lives, even when we struggled, and I was homeless. I was in poverty for 10 frickin' years. Even during those times, money kept coming. Often just enough to survive, just enough to pay the bill, just enough to eat a hamburger.
Yeah.
The money kept coming. So I have found that we live in an abundant universe, but we've convinced ourselves that there isn't an abundance.
We have.
In fact, one of my teachers, I have to say this quote, he's in the book, Arnold Patton. He said, "We don't create abundance, we create limitations."
Yes.
We don't create abundance, we create limitations. That
I like that.
alone should shine light on everybody's financial concerns. Because if they don't have money right now, and again, money's neutral. It's not a bad thing. It's like saying pens are neutral or pencils are bad.
It's neutral. It's a neutral energy. We are the one that defines it. Exactly.
Absolutely. And we are the ones who are limiting it in our lives.
We do.
This is why when you ask me the question, what's one of the beliefs that people might have or what's one of the concerns, they're concerned that there won't be any more.
Exactly.
There's trillions of dollars that are in circulation. I'm not talking
all
about
the time.
Banks. I'm talking about circulation.
Yep.
So there's more than enough. We have to get in alignment with it.
And we get alignment with it when we start to raise ourselves up into that awe moment, that wonderful moment. But we also believe. Just believe. It's very simple to trust in the universe. And we really start to serve others. In serving others, we start to then start the flow of the law of receiving, which is a universal law. We've talked about it before. When we give and we open up to receiving, folks, that's when we create the flow. Isn't that the truth? And it's a circular everything is circular. Everything is circular. Up and down, polarity. Everything is circular. The gift of receiving is the gift of giving. The same thing. Exactly. So now I do want to move into, because you have an exciting thing happening, Joe. You have a movie coming out, which I want to go to the premiere in Los Angeles. I'm very excited about this. So tell everybody about this. This is big.
It is big. There's been a lot of movies since the movie The Secret came out in 2006, and I don't know, I've been in about 20 movies since. But this new movie is really powerful because it amplifies and clarifies everything we've been talking about on this wonderful show with you.
Thank you.
The name of the movie is How Thoughts Become Things.
Oh, how perfect is that?
It's How Thoughts Become Things. And this is a great explanation. There's John Asseroff that's in it. Some of the people you were talking about that were standouts in The Secret, like Bob Proctor.
Yes.
So we're in this new movie.
Bob's a friend now. He's very good, guys. Between Dr. Joe here and Bob, you're going to be... there's nothing else to watch. I'm serious. It's very...
I was fortunate enough to be filmed for it, and I'm very proud of it. I've seen the trailer. I've seen most of the movie. I know the other people that are in the movie, and it explains how our thoughts become things. And in the movie, I remember my scene, at least one of them. I said, life is basically an optical illusion.
Yes.
It's an optical illusion. What you see is based on your thoughts.
Yes.
When I was homeless and in poverty, I looked out into the world and I saw scarcity, and I was broke, and I was disillusioned and I was unhappy. And that was because of my beliefs. Now, when I look out into the world, I see happiness, I see prosperity, I see abundance, I see opulence, I see all kind of opportunities for great wealth and making a difference and being blissful and following your dream. It's the same universe.
You know,
that's different is me.
That's right. And I want to give people a little bit of an experiment, because this is a big, just try this, folks. Go in with a friend. Do not say anything. Go into a coffee shop or some store. And then you look around and get your perception of everything. Okay? You register what you're seeing in that room. And then ask your friend what she or he sees. And I guarantee you're not going to see the same thing. And that is the perfect example of how you both see situations differently. You both see everything you see differently. The way you read a book is different. The way you treat how you see your children is different. Everything you see is different from someone else. Now, if that's the truth, there's nothing really real. It's all our perception. Isn't that interesting? That's what you're talking about, correct, Joe?
It is. What we're seeing in the outer world is an absolute mirror of what's inside of us.
Perfect.
This is why Ho'oponopono works. We were talking about Ho'oponopono
Yes.
earlier. What you're changing is not the outer world. You're changing your perceptions of the outer world.
Yes.
And that's available within you. And that's where thoughts are. They're also inside of you. That's why this movie is so important. So I want people to go see it, not because I'm in it, but because this movie is going to make a difference in their lives. And take family and friends. Go see the movie, How Thoughts Become Things.
And guys, I also have the link to that movie, and I think we're going to go ahead and post it on the show, but it's howthoughtsbecomethings.com. How easy is that? So, and there you go. You can actually rent the movie, and the preview of it, like I said, I think it's in April in Los Angeles. It's phenomenal. It's a very big movie, and it's going to change lives again. Everything we do is to help people awaken to their own possibility and their own growth. And that's what it's about. And that's what adds the ease and the flow. Because if you change your thoughts, guys, and you do the tools that raise you up and inspire you, I cannot stress enough how it changes every aspect of your life. You will be the one that's doing something, and the perfect person is sitting right there to help you. Or you will be just creating, and people will come in your life and say, oh my gosh, I want to help. I've experienced this. I've actually experienced this. People and experiences just come in and start helping me. Where do they come from? It's the universe. But first, I have to change what I'm thinking. It's very powerful. How can people order your book, find out more about you?
Well, the book's on Amazon, so go to Amazon and look for Money, Love, Speed.
Money, Love, Speed.
I'm holding it right now, and there's a Kindle version of it. There'll be an audio in a few weeks. It'll be down the road. But right now, the printed and the Kindle are on Amazon, Money, Love, Speed. I'm all over the Internet. I do have a website with lots of free material if people are interested in different subjects. And that's at vitalilifemastery.com, VITALE, vitalilifemastery.com. And there's free courses, free ebooks, and, of course, some things that they can buy if they'd like to. And, Alena, I really want to thank you. You're doing God's work. The source is proud of you. And I'm
Thank you.
Brought me along for the ride. Lisa Winston, of course, you interviewed.
Oh, God, I know. I love her, love her, love her. She's a beautiful soul, you know?
That's right.
Yeah, and I thank you so much for coming on and enlightening us and explaining the ego. Incredible. I loved how you explained the ego. I thought it was beautiful. And for
Thank you.
Oh, and for everyone out there, start to look at how you're thinking during the day. Just little changes, and don't punish yourself. Oh my gosh, no, don't do that, because we're all in the same boat. Just say, is that really what I want to think? Is that really what I want to think? Do I really want to be that critical on myself? Do I deserve that? No. But most of all, if you're interested, I do want you to also check out Soul Manifesto. Okay? Because I'm so excited. We have a Green Terra discussion group. What is that? It's a discussion group. It's free. It's a discussion group. I can't wait. That means you get to talk too. It's not all me. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm going to throw out a concept in science, science, spirituality, and mindset, and even a little mysticism if you dare. And we'll talk about it. Why is it wrong? Why is it right? How does it affect your life? All these cool things, and you get to have a voice. And of course, I will talk too. We're going to do that on Thursday nights on Zoom. So what you do is you go to soulmanifesto.com, and it's right in the pop-up, and it's Green Terra discussion group. But most of all, guys, it's changing our thoughts. It's reaching our fullest potential in all the different tools that people like Joe Vitale, myself, Bob Proctor, whoever can give you. And most of all, guys, connect to Source, connect to the people around you, and connect to that beauty inside you. Namaste.
This has been Magical Moments with Alena, featuring Alena Chapman. If you miss an episode, you can download it now from your favorite podcast platform, including iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Deezer, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts.
Podcasts by Federated Media.